Hello and welcome to today's video. It's the very end of March and today I'm going to be planting my outdoor potatoes. I already have a couple of each variety planted in the polytunnel that are doing splendidly. We'll show them to you later. But today I'm going to plant all the rest of my seed potatoes outdoors. It is a gorgeous, warm, hot, summery-like day here at the moment. The weather forecast does say we have cold weather on the way. So while it's lovely and warm and gorgeous, I'm going to get these potatoes in the ground. I'm planting 4 different varieties today. I have Charlotte, Vivaldi, and checking my labels, Accent. I don't know why I chose those different varieties. Charlotte is very much a gardener's favourite here in the UK and a commonly grown potato. It's a good all-rounder. Accent and Vivaldi obviously sounded good when I was reading the gardening catalogues, so I decided to give them a try. My 4th variety is a supermarket potato that I had purchased and enjoyed munching and grew last year. I have no idea what it's called, but it was so tasty I've kept some aside, resisted eating them so I can grow them again this year. I think they're related to the fingerling because they have this long fingery shape. So in this bed that I'm going to plant my potatoes in, last year I grew parsnips and turnips. I've actually left, don't know if you can see in shot, in the bottom corner there, I have 2 of the parsnips that I grew last year and I've left them in the ground on purpose. And I'm going to let them go to seed this year, which will give me nice fresh parsnip seed ready for next year. I cleared this bed of its remainders of turnips and parsnips the other day and I boiled them up and had them for supper. So now time to put some potatoes in here. Really simple. These have been sat in these trays since I ordered them several weeks ago. Starting to put up little eyelets, chitting it's called. And I'm not going to cut, sometimes people cut their potatoes. This one, as you see, has several eyes. They'll cut them and so they've then got 2 potatoes to grow. But I'm perfectly happy just planting this whole lump of potato. I also don't go to the trouble of knocking off the little eyes. I'll plant it as it is. Mother Nature decided to grow it like that, so I'm going to let it grow like that. And really basically, I'm going to take my trowel and scrape a channel in this bed all the way along, about 2 to 3 inches deep. What have we got here? Charlotte. And then place my potatoes in with at least some of their little eyes sticking up. We're maybe 10 inches apart. We've got 4 of these left. And then push the soil back. And pop in a label. Charlotte potatoes. That's it, potatoes planted. If it stays dry for several days, I will water these potatoes just to get them going. But the soil's moist, so hopefully it shouldn't need it. And I shall do exactly the same with all my other varieties. I've probably got room for 1 more variety in this bed, and then I'll break into the bed behind me to plant the other 2. So that's the potatoes, really simple. One other thing I shall be planting today are these gherkins. Ouch, something's spiking me. Are these gherkins. They've been growing in these little seed trays for a couple of weeks in the house and they're doing splendidly. These won't be going outdoors though. I shall be planting these into the polytunnel. So we'll go and do that next. And have a look and see how things are getting on in there. decided with this second bed for potatoes, I'm going to do one variety in one half and one variety in the second half. I'm using this old sweet corn stalk to mark the centre point. With the bed I first planted, I did one variety in a long row all the way along one side, and on the other side I did a different variety, and then in the middle I've got half a row of each, which is a bit of a mishmash, but they're in the ground now, so that's how it's going to stay. I prefer, I think, laying it out this way will be easier to identify what's what when it comes to harvesting them, if I can manage to keep the label with the plants. And there was a bit of grassy mulch already on this bed, so I'm going to scatter that back on top. The potatoes are easily pushed through this little bit of light fluff, just to continue feeding all the microbes and worms and life that's in this soil. Once my potato sprouts start showing themselves above the ground, then I will mulch up each side with grass clippings, keep the soil warm and moist and the weeds suppressed. So here in the polytunnel to plant our gherkins, just as I did with the strawberries and tomatoes I was planting the other week, and everything else I've planted in here. First going to dig my hole and fill it with water and wait for that water to soak away before I plant my transplants into the hole. These gherkins are going along this trellis. I've already got some peas I planted in here on the other side last week. So in between each pea plant, I'm going to put some gherkin plants. I've also got another trellisy setup like this on the other side of my polytunnel, and I'll put a couple of plants in there as well, spread them around. So while I'm waiting for that water to soak away, we'll dig another hole. Take our pot of seedling, support it with our fingers, tip it upside down. Got roots coming out the bottom here, lovely. Little pat or a shake, don't want to pat it. Oh, look at that root system, fantastic. I don't know whether to plant these together or try and separate them. I'm going to leave them next to each other, plant these, not going to try and separate them. Once our water's soaked away, I'm going to plant this gherkin very deep, a bit like we did the tomato, well, exactly like we did the tomatoes. But be careful not to go above these bottom two first seed leaves. This one I can only go as deep as the shortest plant, because like our tomatoes, they'll grow roots along those stems. There we go. There. Get these all planted. Give everything another drink of water. On this hot sunny day, be careful not to splash the leaves, because even in here they will burn in the sun with those little splatters of water on them. More lovely roots. In we go. Using my hand to protect the plant. Get some more water in around the soil. Oh, more water. So in my first bed, as I enter my growing section, I've got peas growing up this trellis, along with, we have just planted some gherkins. And at the very end corner, we have a strawberry plant on one side, and round the other corner, I have a tomato, gardener's delight. In the next bed along, we have lettuces, mixed salad, some beans and sweet corn. So my beans are looking a bit thirsty. And this one at the very end here doesn't look like it's going to make it. The sweet corn's floppy and the beans, I don't know what happened there. And again, at the end of this bed, we have a strawberry plant. Next bed along, more peas, but this time they're interplanted with some onions, just because I wasn't sure where else I wanted to put them. And on the end, a tomato. On the other side, a strawberry plant. Into the next bed, nothing planted yet. Somewhere there's a plastic pig guarding the tunnel. We have a strawberry plant, a strawberry in the middle, and a tomato on the end. And then down near the end here are the potatoes I planted in the polytunnel very early in the year, and they're coming up lovely now. Even the spaces that were empty the other week are starting to show signs of life. So these will give me a nice early summer salad potato, delicious. And the very end bed of my polytunnel, I've got some sweet corn. Again, I didn't know where to put it. I had a few extra germinations in pots, so I've stuck them in this bed. Now on the other side, I have a tired, neglected bed with some chard, looking very wilty because it has been neglected and it's not been getting watered. It's ready for clearing out and starting afresh. But it is growing chard, and although flollop grassy stuff is actually chives. I have my herbs down this end. We've got the flollopy chives, and growing in the path, some parsley, looking splendid, and it gets no attention either. And my pride and joy is this fennel, which I am constantly coming along, snapping off bits and munching. It tastes delicious, that wonderful aniseedy flavour. I eat the plant, the flower buds, the flowers, the seeds, everything about it is delicious. Next bed up from that. Everything's looking a bit thirsty today, it's that hot. Some beetroot that were planted last autumn, and some onion sets that I put in after Christmas, so very late planting, and a few more of my own little homegrown onion seeds. The bed behind it, I've got a tomato on the end, and the rest of the gherkin plants along this trellisy fence. I'm planning to put some melon plants in here this year, and another strawberry plant. So that's it for the polytunnel tour today. Let's see what's going on outside. Oh, this blue flowering rockery type plant has been absolutely splendid. It flowers all summer long. Now I have a label for it in the house. I can't remember its name offhand. I'll type it on the screen. Lithidora, heavenly blue. Don't know how to propagate it, but it has been amazing. Here are the raspberry canes, still doing nicely. Now I had 5 raspberry canes, and this one here I suspected was a goner. But I noticed today we've actually got signs of green shoots and life coming up at the root base here. So I'm thrilled. All 5 have survived very nicely. Raspberries this year. I hope so. Get them before the birds do. That laburnum's still looking absolutely splendid. And a few blossoms on the cherry plum still. This row of blackcurrant bushes I transplanted this autumn are all sprouting nice new leaves, and I've just noticed, if I bring you in really close, we've actually got the beginnings of little flowers happening. So that's really exciting. More fruit, yay, blackcurrants. I have a mixture here of blackcurrants and red currants. Possibly some white, but I don't think so. A mix of spring bulbs pushing their way up through the grass. Some grape hyacinths, snake's head fritillary, and some sort of narcissus or daffodil, I'm not sure which. Along with this clump of snake's head fritillary, being visited by a bumblebee, it's really crowded and packed together. Is that 2 bumblebees? Do we have some mating going on? I'm not sure. I think they could do with lifting and dividing, but not right now while they're in full flower. More clumps of daffodils. They're everywhere. It's gorgeous. If you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget to click that like button and let me know. Click subscribe and YouTube will make sure you see my next video. So bye for now, and we'll see you next time. And don't forget, whatever you're doing, have fun doing it.